Picture this. It's the late 1980s. MTV is at its peak. Neon colors are everywhere, and a new wave of music is taking over the world. Suddenly, a band of 4 women appears on your screen, playing their own instruments, rocking effortlessly cool outfits, and performing one of the catchiest songs you've ever heard. Then, amidst the group, one face stands out. She sings with a hypnotic gaze, her eyes locked onto the camera, making it feel like she's singing just for you. That face belonged to Susanna Hoffs, and the band was the Bangles. From garage band beginnings to international stardom, Susanna Hoffs became one of the most symbol of voices of the 1980s. With hits like Walk Like an Egyptian and Eternal Flame, she and the Bangles ruled the charts. But behind the catchy songs and the glamour of fame, there was a story of persistence, struggles, and reinvention. How did Susanna Hoffs become the face of one of the biggest female bands in history? What was the real story behind the Bangles' greatest hits? And where is she now? This is the untold story of Susanna Hoffs. Susanna Hoffs' early life, a star in the making. Susanna Lee Hoffs was born on January 17, 1959 in Los Angeles, California. She grew up in a creative household. Her mother, Tamar Simon Hoffs, was a film director, and her father, Joshua Hoffs, was a psychiatrist. From an early age, music was an obsession. She would listen to her parents' records, falling in love with the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and the Byrds. At the age of 5, she watched A Hard Day's Night and decided she wanted to be in a band. Growing up in California in the 1970s, Susanna was immersed in the vibrant rock scene. She learned to play guitar while attending Palisades High School and later studied art at the University of California, Berkeley. But even as she pursued her degree, music was always calling her back. Then everything changed in 1981 when she placed an ad in a local music paper looking for female musicians who shared her love for 1960s rock. That ad led her to 2 sisters, Vicki and Debbie Peterson. Together, they formed a band that would define an era. The rise of the Bangles, from garage rock to MTV stardom. Originally called The Colors and later The Bangs, the band started as a scrappy garage rock group inspired by the Beatles, the Byrds, and the Velvet Underground. They played small gigs around Los Angeles, developing a unique blend of jangly guitars, rich harmonies, and raw energy. In 1982, the band changed their name to the Bangles and released their first self-titled EP. Their sound caught the attention of Prince, who became a fan and gifted them a song called Manic Monday. That song changed everything. Released in 1986, Manic Monday became the Bangles' breakthrough hit, reaching number 1, 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. Suddenly, they were everywhere. MTV, radio, magazine covers. But their next hit would be even bigger. Walk Like an Egyptian, the song that took over the world. Walk Like an Egyptian was a song that almost never happened. Written by Liam Sternberg, the song had been rejected by multiple artists before the Bangles decided to record it. What made it special? It was fun, strange, and incredibly catchy. The mix of a quirky melody, infectious beat, and the band members' unique vocal delivery turned it into an instant classic. But what really made the song unforgettable was Susanna Hoffs. During the music video shoot, the director asked her to look sideways at the camera while singing, creating her signature side glance stare. That moment turned into a symbol, making her an instant pop symbol. Released in 1986, Walk Like an Egyptian shot to number 1. Won on the Billboard charts and became one of the defining songs of the decade. The Bangles had arrived at the top, but with fame came pressure, and cracks within the band began to form. Eternal Flame, the song that showed Susanna's true voice. By 1988, the Bangles were global superstars, but tensions were rising. Critics and fans often focused more on Susanna Hoffs than the other band members, creating jealousy and internal conflicts. Here are some of her greatest songs of all time, with the Bangles. Manic Monday, 1986. Written by Prince, this song became one of the Bangles' biggest hits. Walk Like an Egyptian, 1986, a global hit with an unforgettable melody. Eternal Flame, 1989, a beautiful ballad showcasing Hoffs' emotional vocals. Hazy Shade of Winter, 1987, a powerful cover of Simon and Garfunkel's song In Your Room, 1988, a catchy and seductive rock track. She has also released several cover albums, including Under the Covers series with Matthew Sweet, where they covered classic songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Despite the tensions, they recorded one of their most beautiful songs, Eternal Flame. Inspired by an eternal flame burning at Graceland, the song was co-written by Susanna and featured her most vulnerable, emotional vocal performance. Unlike their upbeat hits, Eternal Flame was a hauntingly soft ballad, showcasing a different side of the band. When it was released in 1989, it became their second number one. One hit and remains one of the greatest love songs of all time. But behind the scenes, the Bangles were falling apart. Feeling burned out and frustrated by industry pressures, the band split in 1989 at the peak of their fame. For Susanna Hoffs, it was both an ending and a new beginning. Susanna Hoffs' solo career and the Bangles reunion. After the Bangles disbanded, Susanna launched a solo career, releasing her first album, When You're a Boy, in 1991. While it had some success, she struggled to replicate the symbol of the Bangles. The 90s saw her exploring different musical projects, acting, and even reuniting with the Bangles in the late 1990s. In 2003, they released a new album, Doll Revolution, proving that their chemistry was still intact. Beyond the Bangles, Susanna collaborated with other artists, including Matthew Sweet, covering classic 60s hits under the duo name Sid and Susie. But no matter what she did, she remained the Susanna Hoffs, the woman whose voice, style, and presence defined an era. Where is Susanna Hoffs now? Today, Susanna Hoffs continues to make music and perform. In 2023, she released The Deep End, an album showcasing her love for classic rock and pop. She's also happily married to Jay Roach, a Hollywood director known for films like Austin Powers and Meet the Parents. They've been together since 1993, proving that rock stars can have lasting love stories too. And despite the decades that have passed, one thing remains the same. Susanna Hoffs is still one of the coolest women in rock history. The legacy of Susanna Hoffs and the Bangles lives on. Susanna Hoffs didn't just create hits. She created moments that have lasted for generations. Whether it's the hypnotic gaze in Walk Like an Egyptian or the raw emotion of Eternal Flame, she left a mark on music that will never fade. And now we want to hear from you. What's your favorite Bangles song? Do you think Susanna Hoffs is one of the most underrated symbols of the 80s? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into her life, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell because the best stories in music are always worth telling.